Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I see some new faces here. Welcome to the Vedanta Monastery. Let me salute you. Do you know how we say it? Namaste. You guys heard namaste? So namaste is the divine in me. Namaha, salutations to you. The divine in me salutes the divine in every one of you. You're unique in forms. So let us go ahead and chant. We'll open up with a chant. This is from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishads, which is the oldest Upanishads. If you know the prayer, chant along. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Avir Maedhi Rudrayate Dakshinam Mukham Te Namam Pahi Nityam Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Light us through and through, and guide us evermore with thy loving presence. Om, peace, peace, peace to all embodied beings everywhere. Again, welcome everybody. Today we are going to have a talk by our senior Swami, Swami Sarvadevananda. For those that don't know him, he's the leader of the Vedanta Society of Southern California, and he's here with us today to speak on the undivided heart, the undivided heart. Swami Sarvadevananda.
Om Tvang Deshikendram Paramam Pavitram Vishvashaviyang Madhurang Jatindram Hitayoninang Naramurtimantam Vivekwanandam Ahang Namami. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. To the teacher of teachers, supremely pure and stainless, the guardian of the world, the sweet one, the prince among the yogis, who took up the human form for the good of mankind, to that Vivekananda, the embodiment of joy derived from discrimination, I salute him again and again. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So today we'll be talking about what is called the Vivekananda and Brahmananda. The Vedanta society in which we live now, it has been started with Sri Ramakrishna. And he's in his laboratory of spiritual life, he experimented all the facets of spiritual journey, which is available in the world till now, and he lived a life of God-intoxicated life to prove to the world that there is one religion, and that is your own divine nature, which is pure, stainless. And that approach is different, and all the religious directions are all different paths, dharma, or it's called religion. So, he established this new idea into the world, which the Vedanta societies are trying to live and preach through the devotees and the monastics. But he lived a life he experienced the truth. And who will carry on the flag? So around him came, he used to cry. He used to cry for God first. And crying and crying and crying and detaching from the whole world fell down from his mind. And he had the vision of the Divine Mother he used to call Ma, his Mother Kali. And then so many ways he reached the same destination. And then what happened? He used to cry also. Cry for the young people to come. He used to cry, "Oh Mother, please send. I am tired of talking. Mundane talks, worldly talks, money, house, building, this, that, which is so trivial. And it ends into nothing. I am tired of talking to them. Please send some people whom I can talk, who are pure in heart, who have some zeal, who have the idea of dedication and sacrifice for the good of others." And he was crying and crying, and then one after another, some young people came. Brahmananda was one such person. Swami Vivekananda was another person. They all gathered around because they are searching. They are searching for the truth. And they are pure in heart. They have no other inclination. They want to fulfill the mission of life. We are not born like a plant or animal to be born, eat, sleep, do whatever the life's pressure takes you to that, and ultimately you one day die. Meaningless life. So that was, he wanted people to understand the purpose of life is to realize the real nature of inside and who you are, or in simplistic language, realizing God. But when he came in that 19th century's early stage, India was under British rule, and there came a movement which is called Brahmo movement came, and that Brahmo movement taught the young people to think that this worship of the deities and idols, they are idol worshippers, no? Worshipping Kali, Durga, Shiva, Ganesha, they are all idol worship. It has nothing to do with God, is not that idol. So why educated student, intellectual people will go for that? Discard everything which was ancient and which was Vedic and which was sustaining India in spirituality for thousands of years. Ramakrishna came there and he stood in support of that idea. It is not idol. It is the divine in that idol. Invoking the divine and seeing God in everything. God, nothing, nowhere, to everywhere God. So that was the tremendous turn point in spiritual history of India, given by Vivekananda, Ramakrishna, and then came Swami, Vivekananda and others. So Ramakrishna came to harmonize all the paths of spiritual practices, all the flights of spiritual growth and development, all the moods through which humankind moves towards God. No? We have different moods. You have a devotional mood, you have intellectual mood, you have a mood of activity, doing service and other things. So let everyone start their mood and develop. That was his, not to destroy their innate tendencies and the inner urge, how to move, manifest themselves, but turn that into towards God. And that was his mission. He lived that life, experienced all the nooks and corners of spiritual journey. But he didn't come for himself. And so, for the mankind he came, and to raise everyone to that state of consciousness where all dualities and conflicts and divisions will melt away in the realization of the truth. All this diversity will melt into oneness. And we are fundamentally that one reality manifesting in thousands of forms and names. So Ramakrishna came for that, and when he came, but he needed to keep some of the followers behind who will spread that message of the self-realization. So there will be some people. So there are major two paths in Hindu religion, the four paths we call. Two paths is here. One is the path of not this, the path of Vedanta idea. The ultimate truth is not this material world. It is all changing. There is an unchanging reality. That is the truth, and that is you. You are in this body, in this mind, but you are not the body, not the mind. So these ideas were brought to them, and that was the path of Vedantic path. And another path is the Bhakti path, the path of devotion, crying for God, loving God, and praying to God for self-realization. And Swami Vivekananda, about Swami Vivekananda, Ramakrishna said, "Behold, here is Naren." His earlier name was Naren. See, oh, what a power of insight he has. It is like this soulless ocean of radiance. And the Mother Mahamaya herself cannot approach more than within 10 feet of him. She is bound by very glory with which he has imparted to him. That is praising Vivekananda's potentiality, that is a noble soul, and he is born with the insight and shoreless ocean of radiance of that knowledge. He had to preach this Sanatana Dharma, the eternal heritage of all humanity, the divinity of the soul to the whole world. So revive this unique message. And Swami Vivekananda and Brahmananda is another his friend. They are two friends. They are born in Calcutta, and they were all, from the childhood, they are friends. They are so playful days. They started their journey together, and then gradually they came to Sri Ramakrishna, and then afterwards Ramakrishna's passing away, they joined together in the monastic community, and then they lived that life of God-intoxicated life. Then after that, when he lived that life and experienced the realization, formed this organization, Swami Vivekananda started this organization after going back from this country. So after that, he started this institution which is called the Ramakrishna Mission, Ramakrishna Math. But it is not a political organization or a social organization. It is only for giving humanity the way to path to show the path of freedom and spiritual illumination. Everyone should be illumined to your divine consciousness. It is your birthright. Our birthright is that divinity. Our birthright is that joy, bliss, unending. But we do not know. That's why we drown ourselves into this ignorant state. That's why Ramakrishna came, but his heart was to help the humanity. And then this cry, when I refer to the cry every day, and the mother, Divine Mother, brought these brighter students. So Brahmananda, to give an example that God can be realized in this path of bhakti, devotional way. Vision of God is not a just imagination. God can be seen. I am seeing you, God can be seen. And Sri Ramakrishna did that himself. But Brahmananda remained there to prove to the world God vision is as we see him with our open eyes, God can be seen in everywhere. So that vision of God in infinite form is possible to visualize and maybe seen tangibly. Rakhal is a testimony. Rakhal was messaging, so his life we find that Rakhal is building up their spiritual life. Everyone will have to build up their spiritual life, but is not giving lecture from the lecture platform, but it is only through their own sadhana, own spiritual practice, You go through the rigorous training and you unfold your inner divinity day by day. So Ramakrishna guided in that way. One day Ramakrishna was there and Rakhal was a young boy. He was massaging his feet and he was pestering, give me some vision, make me make some experience in my own. And Sri Ramakrishna said that, why are you restless so much? Do your practice, it will come in time. But she was not ready to hear, and he threw away the oil bottle and ran away. Then he was going out of the gate of Dakshineshwar where Ramakrishna was there. Somebody, as if is pulling him, and he could not move beyond the gate. He got stranded there. Then Ramakrishna sent his attendant, Hriday, to call him back. And he came back. Then he said, can you go beyond this boundary? You will have to do mother's work. So you have to be here. And he came back. And in time it happened that Rakhal had such experience seeing the divine. No? So it happened later on. And when he had that vision one day, he was in the Dakshineshwar Kali temple, and he went and he saw that inner light, inner sanctum and sanctarium is filled with light, effulgent light, and it's the beam of light is falling upon him. And he saw that, he got frightened and he ran away. And ran, and then Sri Ramakrishna asked, what happened? You were asking for experience, realization. And when it came, you ran away. Then you are again claiming that, oh, how can I get that vision? It is proving that even for high souls like them, they need that purity of their heart to have experience that highest visions of God in its pure container. So Sri Ramakrishna actually was training them to make them world teachers, and that teachers for the purpose of the good of humanity. So Ramakrishna's body, physical body, was so soft and so sattvika, pure, that it was not possible for him to spread this universal message of harmony and peace to the whole world. So Swami Vivekananda made two of his disciples as a vehicle to start this mission, which we call Vedanta movement in this country. It started with Vivekananda. You all know, 1893, Swami Vivekananda came here in the World Parliament of Religions, and then he spoke about this Vedanta, this universal religion. Everyone in the Parliament of Religion, World Religion, was talking of their own faith, own tradition. Everyone is glorifying, this is how great, how great, how great. My path is the greatest path. Only Swami Vivekananda stood there and in front of all, declaring that as all the streams running from the different sources all merge where? Merge into the ocean. So all the religious, all the tendencies and everything which people try to make in their own spiritual journey, all blend into you, O Lord, one Lord. And he talked about all religions. That was the uniqueness of Swami Vivekananda. And that is the starting point of Vedanta movement in this country. Not only Christianity is not the only way. Hindu practice of mother worship is not the only way. Every path leads to the same destination if one follows sincerely and become pure to the context. So Sri Ramakrishna, two disciples he made, the primary vehicle to start this mission. And though there are 16 disciples, other 14 are also there, they contributed. But these are the two great personalities, two facets of Sri Ramakrishna in the form of incarnation. Incarnation idea, we can recall what is the incarnation. Incarnation is called avatar, no? We use this word avatar here and there. He is an avatar. No? It is a ridiculous term. But avatar means God himself comes down. The Lord God who created this entire cosmos, he comes down in human form. he is called Avatar. Christ, Buddhas, Ramas, Krishnas, Ramakrishnas, they are called incarnations. Because they don't come to give a message for a few days and it dies. Christ died physical death 2000 years past. His impact is still there, is it not? The whole world knows Christ. And it is giving peace to so many people. Buddha, Rama, thousands of years past. So these are called incarnations. Their impact helps the humanity for ages together. They never die. And the pure-hearted soul, they can be redeemed following their path. So Ramakrishna Avatara maintained all the 16 monastic disciples. Out of them, extraordinary spiritually illumined people are there also. They are householders who came to Ramakrishna. That devotees put together will give us a glimpse of what was Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is the consummation of the spirituality which Swami Vivekananda, who preached length and breadth of this country and Europe, other places, this Vedantic message, added with the Brahmananda's deep, focused spiritual power, dynamo, generating that spirituality within and transferring to the good of humanity. And all the other disciples of Swami Ramakrishna, plus all the devotees who came to Ramakrishna. It is not the monks. Monks are not the only person who will realize God. It is the householder. Everyone have equal right of God realization. And they are examples of Balaram Bose, Girish Ghosh, even the Bohemian character person coming in touch with Ramakrishna, illumined and become a saint. So that is the power of the avatar. And that indicates that God comes for all of us, wherever we are, to lift us from that level to the level of our eternal heritage, the divinity within. So there's that great hope to send that message. The two facets are there, that though there was other monastics, but the two people were very important in the movement of the Ramakrishna Vedanta. Swami Vivekananda, he was dwelling in the absolute and non-dual, impersonal reality of Brahman, did spread the ancient message of the Vedas as lived by Veda Murti, Ramakrishna, to the world. He said that I have not spoken anything of but Upanishad, the essence of the Indian spiritual teachings. In the Vedas, the essence of the Vedas are the Upanishads. And Veda, who is Ramakrishna? Ramakrishna is the Veda Murti. Murti means the embodied form. What is spiritual truth? It gets embodied, means manifested in every action, thought and ideas. That is called the embodiment. So Ramakrishna's Veda Murti. Without the background of the knowledge of that experience of this one non-dual impersonal reality, today civilization cannot survive. The humanity will face the destruction by dogmatism, sectarianism, and all conflicts and fight, as it is happening. So we need this message of Vedanta, and Swami Vivekananda took a major role. He became the exponent of this avatarist philosophy of the modern age, that religion, all religion is true and valid path. And each soul, we are not sinners, we are all pure by our essential nature. Ignorance has covered us, our inner reality is covered. It can be opened out. Like the cloud covers the sun, we see no ray of light. But when the cloud is removed, you see the sun shining all the time. So inner sun in all of us is shining the same way. And only to remove the cloud of ignorance, of not knowing who we are and identifying with the wrong thing. That is the message of Sri Swami Vivekananda. So he did that. Otherwise, sectarianism and all this dogmatic feeling, what is going on in the world, all through the history and even now it is more. People are not looking upon others as divine being. but as an enemy to each other. I belong to this group, you belong to that group. So you are different, I am different. Whereas Vedanta teaches, Sri Ramakrishna teaches, you are essentially the same as I am equally. It is only. So this message is so important for this period of time. And God came with a mission how to penetrate into the society and give this message to the whole world. And he took two people, as I said, Vivekananda and Brahmananda, as the major tool to express this spirituality. But to reach this flight of non-dual experience, that eternal truth as Vivekananda Ramakrishna stands for, we cannot ignore the path of worshipping God in the personal form. Everyone will not be able to think, God, I am not the body, not the mind. I am the body, no? I am hungry, I am thirsty, I need food, I need shelter. I am not the body, not the mind. How can I hold that idea? Many people will not be fit for that idea. So what for them? Yes, we know, we see the world. There must be a designer. We see this sun, moon, stars, galaxies. Who has created? There must be some designer, no? We call him God. It is impersonal and at the same time with qualities of compassion, holiness, etc. So that appears in different forms of gods and goddesses, angels and dove, all these ideas in different religions talking about that truth. So there are that another path should be opened up for general masses. That is the personal form of one's own choice. We call them chosen ideal. We call Krishna, we call Rama, we call Ganesha, we call Jesus, we call Buddha, all these ideas. Brahmananda is that important facet of Ramakrishna's spiritual experience. God can be seen, experienced, following the path of division. So these are the two eternal ways of reaching the truth. It is jnana and bhakti. One is path of knowledge and path of devotion. And that guided the human society for together. But people forget the principle and they don't want no demonstration. You are talking only, can you transform me? That is the point. Ramakrishna did that. When Sannaran Vivekananda came, he touched him and gave him the experience of that non-dual experience. So Brahmananda came. One day, he was, as I said, he wanted to have some vision and he saw that and then he ran away. Means he is not ready for that time, but he became that and he became a dynamo of spirituality. And guided the human society in these two ways. In this age, Sri Ramakrishna's advent have synthesized these two. Sri Ramakrishna said that do whatever practice you want to do, Advaita Gyan Achale Vedhe Jai Chata Kar. Means you do whatever spiritual practice you want to know, but keep the Advaita, non-dual reality is your essential nature, the pure nature, stainless nature. You are that, keep that idea, hold on to that idea, and then practice whatever way you want to practice. Ultimately, you will reach the same goal. So, but it is not an easy task for Sri Ramakrishna to convince these young boys who were deeply influenced by the thoughts of material science of that time and the Brahma movement, challenging all this God relation. It was as if West is challenging the East. West wanted that everything to be proven, as material science. You put this acid, you put this salt, and put this acid with it, and you see the color changes. And then you see litmus, put the litmus, it becomes like this. So science is like that. If that is true, it should be like that. But you are talking about God, Atman, Brahman, you are pure, you are this. Where is that proof? So that was that Swami Vivekananda demonstrated in his own life, but Brahmananda also. So it was not an easy task for Sri Ramakrishna to convince these boys, as also for the Brahmananda, Vivekananda to convince the world. It was not an easy task. Was challenging. That's why it is said, is your religion is scientific? That is the question. Can your religion withstand science? Some more people will say, believe, my faith system. I don't have faith, what will happen? You say there is a God in the heaven and he is ruling us. I don't believe in it. Where is the heaven? I don't see the heaven. So how can we accept that? There is one Swami Brahmananda, very, very nice story is there. Brahmananda Maharaj was one day talking to a scientist in the later part when he became the president of this order and thing. His name was Meghnad Saha. Swami Brahmananda, Meghnad Saha was a prominent scientist of that time in India. He came and he smiled at Brahmananda. And Brahmananda is a man of seeing God, mystic vision, one after another comes in his vision. He said, our science can concretely prove that truth is this. But is there anything in your religion? Brahmananda said, no. Your science cannot also prove hand in hand all the truth you are talking about. Then they were talking together and through the window they saw one a farmer. And he said, can you go to that farmer and teach him your latest scientific discovery? Can you make him understand that? Then Swami, that Meghnad Saha, Mr. Saha, understood that it needs some preparation. Truth is not, you may not see it because you are not ready. Who can see? Who can say that the electron and proton, all this theory we get about the atomic structure and its movement of the electronic structure? We all believe, is it not? But have any one of us seen here in this room? No one. So I don't believe because it is not there. But scientists have seen. So these authorities, these scientists, they should have to, that's why Brahmananda and Vivekananda, they are the proof. I have seen God. I can show you God. So that is the faith. It is not mere faith, but it has this truth behind, the experience behind. So that testimony was Swami Brahmananda. So is there any God? If yes, can he be realized? Is it mental hallucination? Do you believe anything unless it stands the test of reason? Not to believe, but to understand reasonably, logically. So West stands for that. You science, so spirituality, what is preached by Ramakrishna, Vivekananda and Brahmananda, that stands on this rationality, reason and beyond. It may not be, God cannot be seen by these eyes because it's too limited to see that infinite. But it can be experienced when the mind is being elevated to that level, so that it is logical, it should be logical, and it should be scientific, at the same time it should be practical and unrealizable. So science says, if it is not so, Vedanta also says, discard that. If you don't have, you are not satisfied with the reason, if reason does not stand into the right understanding, so you can give up that philosophy. Yes. So Swami Brahmananda, by his own life, he showed to his future people that God is a reality. Swami, in the Eternal Companion, if we read, we find that is saying, yes, check on yourself, and you do practice, and you will have the experience. If you don't get experience, then come back and complain to me. You can slap me on my face. It's challenging in such a way. God is reality, and you practice spiritual discipline, and if you don't get any result, come back and slap me on my face. And wherever Swami Brahmananda used to go, the spiritual atmosphere would be uplifted there. So your questions will dissolve. Before you put the question, the solution comes in your heart. You palpably feel that God can be realized. It's a tangible thing. Tangible thing can be felt only by pure soul. Maybe we need some preparation. For anything we need preparation. So in spiritual life also, preparation. What we wanted to talk about, that this Ramakrishna found out that the true nature of Brahmananda and Vivekananda are little different, but two aspects of spirituality. Ramakrishna said, Naren dwells in the realm of the absolute, the impersonal. He is like a sharp drawn sword of discrimination. He's talking, Ramakrishna is describing about Vivekananda, young Naren. He dwells in the realm of the absolute, non-dual. Not the body, not the mind. I am that divine, I am that pure, I am that stainless. He always is in that flight. And from that flight he sees the oneness in the whole universe. He says that my ideal can be preached into a few words, and that is to preach unto mankind. What? What to preach unto? It may be that to preach unto mankind their hidden divinity. Divinity hidden. And how to manifest that divinity in every movement of life. It's a very, very scientific statement. My ideal, Vivekananda's ideal, is not to make an institution, organization, building house and this and that. But it is that ideal is that my ideal can be preached into a few words, and that is to preach unto mankind. What to preach to us all? He is not mankind. He is not saying Indian, he is not American, he is not Russian, he is not Chinese. It is no division there. Humanity, men, women, what gender? No, everyone. How to preach that divinity, and how to manifest in that, in every movement of your life. That Vedantic principle can be proved in every movement. You can see and interact with the divine. That would be the mission of Swami Vivekananda. So that mission was, Swami Sri Ramakrishna says, that he dwells in the realm of the absolute, the impersonal. He is like a sharp drawn sword of discrimination. Whereas on the other hand, Rakhal means the Brahmananda, dwells in the realm of God. Sweet one, the repository of all blessedness, blessed qualities. He is like a child in the lap of his mother, completely surrendering to her in every way. So here is a devotional aspect. Oh Lord, I am your child, I do not know anything, guide me, hold me, take me to this trouble. No? So much faith. There is some reality, and He is holding me in all my crisis, all my happy days, all my unhappy days. He is behind me. So that is the Brahmananda idea. And these are the Vivekananda. Swami Prabhupada compared these two great souls in his Eternal Companion, that book. Vivekananda was like a flaming fire, a midday sun, burning up all evils and impurities. In Vivekananda, anyone goes, such a power, all darkness and ignorance will be vanished as it were. In this country, when he is to speak, and all this audience will be uplifted into a higher spiritual realm. 7,000 people, it is called, maybe number is little more or less, but they all stood on feet with ovation, to clapping the hand and the praise of what? Their mind was so high up, and he became the hero next day. In the whole streets of Chicago, he became the prominent speaker, and first figure, and all the newspaper are talking about that. That's one 5 minute talk. People are talking for half an hour, reading the notes as we are doing now. But he is not dying, just stood up and said a few words. And he electrified the whole audience. That is the potential power to raise the mind, cosmic mind, into higher level. So that's why Vivekananda is like a flaming fire. Flaming fire, what does it do? It destroys everything is burned. All the ignorance, little, big, or whatever is there, all burned into fire, heat and light. So this fire, heat is the ananda, and fire is the knowledge, consciousness. And so that is the sea. And Brahmananda is like a soft, cool light, soothing the aching heart. As if moonlit night, moonlit night, so much soft, so much beautiful and easily acceptable. Scorching sun, if you go in the scorching sun in hot and 80 degrees temperature and hot sun, then you get burned, So all the ignorance and other things will be burned. Vivekananda fire, if you take it. And Brahmananda fire, if you take, is soft, soothing, build up your spirituality, love God, sing and glories of God, get absorbed in God consciousness. That is his message. Vivekananda was like a deep and restless ocean, always fighting against ignorance and superstitions. Vivekananda is a restless person, to do good to the others, how to redeem the people, how to take away the suffering of humanity, how the women of the world can be given a boosting to their dignity. That was the women's lib. Vivekananda is the person who spoke about whole world to women's education, women's lifting. So he was restless, Vivekananda was restless, always fighting against ignorance, superstition. Brahmananda was like a blue sky, vast and patient in spirit. The manner of his work was inward and silent. His work was dive deep, dive deep, dive deep. Vivekananda laid the foundation for the spiritual undertaking. This is important. Vivekananda did not only lecture, but he was feeling how this movement will continue for centuries and years and years. And he established this movement in headquarters in India, in Calcutta. It's called Belur Math now, but he established that in Calcutta. Why? This will be a center from which this message of harmony, this message of peace, this message of self-realization, not talking religion, but living religion, experiencing religion, is to be reaching the hearts of people all over. And by service, your spirituality should help somebody. If your self is becoming spirituality is only for you at the cost of others, Vivekananda discarded that religion. He said it will be unselfishness will be the dominant figure there. And that was established. But he established, and he was quickly trying to do things because he wanted to get out of this life's, this activity level to go to Samadhi himself. So he established this organization and made Swami Brahmananda the first president. He was the president for a few days, but he given this president's responsibility to Swami Brahmananda. And then Brahmananda, after Swami Vivekananda passed away, he continued as the president, as to spread this message by his spiritual life, and in the formative period of this Sangha, to keep them, bridge them together, all different types of monks, all different types of personalities, political situation of India, and all this is a very huge problematic time that was going on during that period of time. So he was there to support everything and protect this whole holy organization, and that is now we belong to that order. So Brahmananda, Vivekananda laid the foundation for this spiritual undertaking entrusted to him by his master Sri Ramakrishna. But Brahmananda built the edifice. Now this worldwide organization which is now working, in India we may have about how many? 240 centers in India, outside England, Europe, and Russia, America, all this. The one mission, to do good to the world, to bring this awareness that you all, human personality, has the power to get back to their own treasure of inner treasure of spirituality within, and it can be realized in this life itself. This message of freedom, ultimate freedom, not temporary freedom. We know ultimate freedom, freedom from all anxieties, worries, tensions, death, fear, and transcending to that level where we stand actually. So that mission. But it was a huge task for Swami Brahmananda to keep that in integrity and frame this order. So dynamic, aggressive personality could wake a man. Swami Vivekananda was that dynamic person, aggressive personality who would make a man from the sleep of ignorance and arouse him from that darkness. And Brahmananda, with his characteristic serenity, could show him the way to mold his life into God softly. So mission of the Master, to preach and broadcast the divine heritage of all humanity to the whole world, is given to Vivekananda, and that in turn came to the whole order. Mission of this order is only to preach. So preach this divinity and God realization as the goal of life. And it is not going into the cell of Himalayas in corner, no. You dedicate your life for the good of others and to inspire that to the youthful mind. And thousands of monks, like young people is sitting here, young people, join. Now we have twin organization, no? One for the women, another for the men. Those who like to dedicate their life for this dual purpose of God realization oneself and to do help or do good to the world, two mission, then this organization is open to them. And these two souls, Vivekananda and Brahmananda, they are undivided in this philosophy of spreading the message under Ramakrishna's guidance. So this is point, and why we choose to be two people are of undivided heart, because they did it for their love for Sri Ramakrishna and love for their friendship. Their friendship was so deep. When a new idea comes, there are people always will be conflicted. Any new idea you tell somebody is the first rejection. Ignoring that, rejecting that, criticizing that, worthlessness of that will be the major reaction. But Swami Brahmananda could get into the idea of Swami Vivekananda and supported him from the very beginning. We find that their personal friendship was there, Vivekananda and Brahmananda, where they lived very close in Calcutta, and their friendship from their early childhood were there. They are friends together from that time till death. So, but Swamiji has a personality, Brahmananda has a personality. Swami Vivekananda is trying to wrap up his life quickly to finish and go back. So he died 39 years age, and he could have stayed, much good have been done to the world, but he decided to go away. So he used to always restless, and if any work, inefficiency in work, or he expected, we have what is called, we have debt for your, in our office, what is called, it's a debt, given a debt, you have to finish your work on that debt. Deadline, yeah. There is a deadline. So Swami Vivekananda had a deadline, you do this immediately. And it didn't happen. And then Swami Vivekananda will be pounding on whom? His own closest friend Brahmananda. You are the president, you don't look after this, this is going on, that is. And sometimes he used an emotional friend talking like that. But Swami Vivekananda is fired with that zeal of Sri Ramakrishna spirit to do something. So when this situation happened, and sometimes Brahmananda will be so much upset because soft-hearted. His nature was little soft, and Swami Vivekananda is very strong. So naturally, but they're close friends. And then what happened? And so when he scolded like that, so Swami Brahmananda left his presence and went to his room, and then he went to find that Brahmananda is in the tears. And then he went, then he said, said that, you see, you are Rakhal, Brahmananda, you are Rakhal, and you are loved by Ramakrishna so much. He used to feed you butter and sweets and rock candies. And I am scolding you and making you cry. So better I am not fit to stay in your monastery now. You are the boss. So I am going to leave. Then his tears stopped. He said, you are our elder brother. We do mistakes. So you should forgive that. And you should scold us more. And both of them embraced with each other. And then they reconciled the situation. So it is not that their deep friendship is in some other level. But when it comes to work, that also, sometimes he used to say, one day he said that some Vivekananda telling his closest friend to Brahmananda, you know, see Raja, he used to call him Raja, Raja means king. See Raja, can you do one thing? You know what happens to the racing horse? When the racing horse becomes unable to do his activity, becomes a little weak, but what is done? Do you know? He's talking to Swami Brahmananda. So they collect one gun and just kill it because it is no more use. And he may say emotionally saying, I am become old, I cannot do work anymore. Can you collect a gun and kill me like that? I have become like old racing horse, tired and now not fit to do any more work. So can you do that? And Brahmananda went into tears and hugged each other and said, what are you saying? You are our crown of our heart and you should not do that. So they have very close, friendly relationship between them. And for the purpose is that only the mission, the one purpose, they are united together. For the carrying the mission of this Vedanta, that message of unity, message of harmony, message of peace, message of glory of the inner self, and to awaken everyone, men and women, anywhere, in any field, to raise them into that divine consciousness. That was the mission of both. And then in that level, they were united together. And after Ramakrishna, Vivekananda was passing away in 1902, 4th of July he passed away. Another 25 years, now Brahmananda managed the whole affairs and holding the whole diverse in people in diverse level of thoughts and guided them to the spiritual journey of the life. So that was the contribution of this. And when Brahmananda kept, it was very difficult because that was the freedom fighting movement going on in India that time. British rule is to be wiped out. And so many boys who joined in the monastery, they were connected with, because they are idealistic men, they thought that the country should be freed from British rule. So they took their group of people who is to freedom, join in this way or that way, kept a link with this freedom movement. And then the police was after them, always chasing them where. And some of them joined. And then police officer will come, Tegard, the governor, he used to come to the Belur Math and see that they used to think first that this Vedanta movement, that's Ramakrishna order, is also another hidden freedom fighting movements center. Because all the boys were involved into the freedom fighting movement in outside before joining. They have joined into the monastery. So the government thought they are all hiding in this monastery and to be an active member of the ruling out the British rules from India. So it is a very critical time. Police is coming day and night and this and that. Swami Brahmananda's personality, seeing him, they got convinced it is a spiritual organization. Also, he did it with Nivedita. Nivedita, Sister Nivedita was an ardent devotee of Swami Vivekananda, who dedicated her life for the women's education in India. Still it is called Nivedita School. Till now it is running on by the women section of our ministry. That Nivedita was very much involved in the freedom fighting movement and liberation of the India's freedom. She took a very great role, and police was looking after that. Ultimately, she was a part of our Ramakrishna mission. She left her identity, openly declared, my activities does not have to be connected with missions activity. So it was also Brahmananda made this change in the mind of Nivedita to protect this organization from spirituality to political organization. So anyhow, so we find that Brahmananda's contribution is tremendous contribution. Had it not been that, we would not be here, and Vedanta societies would not be anywhere. So this is the contribution of Vivekananda and Brahmananda. We are fortunate to have them in our life. If we read, I would suggest you should read, everyone should read Eternal Companion, small book. If you find it, then you see what is called spirituality and how we can develop that spirituality without conflicting with others and make our life more meaningful and purposeful. So that is the way Vivekananda, Brahmananda, the two friends, they joined together to have this freedom for all humanity. And it is their great contribution in what they have given for the society. We can utilize that in our life and make ourselves free from bondage. Thank you.
A couple questions. If you'd like to ask any questions or make any comments, feel free to do so. Just raise your hand. Anybody?
Okay.
So there's I think the emergency food's ready, but let me just ask one thing then. I can ask the audience maybe this also. So when Swamiji was talking about it, he referred to Swami Vivekananda and Swami Brahmananda. As I was listening and thinking, what does this mean to me? Swami Vivekananda, as Swami was talking about, seemed to be like coming out as the intellect, the one who's like the discernment. This is right, this is wrong, what is good, what is bad. Swami Brahmananda, as he said, is softer, feeling, the heart. So you have the intellect and the heart here. Swami Vivekananda, intellect, Swami Brahmananda, the heart. And as he was saying this one time, when the intellect, Swami Vivekananda, was pounding on Swami Brahmananda, I was thinking like, oh, sometimes does my intellect pound on my heart saying, you're no good, you're unworthy, you can't do this right. And then how does the heart feel? The heart feels like, starts to contract and starts to feel like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good. And it starts to feel depressed, starts to feel unworthy. So then my thinking was then, well, if we're getting that message from our intellect into our heart, how do we develop the heart so that it doesn't get overridden by the intellect, by the messages of the intellect? How do we expand the heart so that Swami Brahmananda, in one sense, should be the leader in that way, if I'm using this analogy, And using the intellect, if the heart is full and rich, then it can use the intellect. This is the direction we should go. Because Swami Vivekananda said, first, feel with the heart, and then let the intellect follow. So I can ask you guys maybe, how do you think when the heart feels contracted, how do you feel the heart so it starts to feel full, loved, expansive, and then take control over the intellect? We have one response there. Go ahead. Heinz, can you give her the microphone there? In the back.
It is a good idea, head and heart, this question. Swami Vivekananda said, we have to bridge the head and heart together.
Right.
It should not be
That's correct, yeah.
one-sided, it should not be. And head and heart, and of course he said, if there is a conflict, Vivekananda says, any time in your life there is a conflict between head and heart, reason and your feeling, you listen to the heart. Because heart is the feeling center. But heart should be guided with the intellect. Intellect is the gas pressure. And heart is the will.
In other words, Maharaj, though, the heart should be the master and the intellect should be the servant in this analogy.
And at least to see that car to go in the right direction, you should have both are necessary. Your discernment is necessary, which will be going in which lane, or where you will change it, or who is going to run behind you, and how aggressive is one, or how sweet is one. So your understanding, and you should be lovely and caring, so that conflict is less. Head and heart, confusion, Swami Vivekananda says, listen to your heart. But head and heart should be reconciled. Yes.
So the question is how to expand your heart.
Loud, please, loud.
To answer the question, how to expand your heart if it's feeling contracted because it's been getting criticism from the intellect. There could be two approaches. Love is the answer. One is to love things outside, other people, self-service, selflessness, and look to service.
Yeah.
The other is love yourself like you would love a child. And just like you would forgive a child, you can discipline the child, but you forgive them so many times, you give them multiple chances to learn. So you love yourself like you would love a child, you forgive yourself, and give your chance to grow, but in a proper way.
No, I think that heart, if I've understood your question, the child will ask anything. To please the child is not love. There should be some judgment in the mind of the mother, whether this will hurt the child or it will be good for him. So the brain is coming into the position, in understanding is correct, whether I am taking it is for the good of the person. So that good or bad is the analytical side in the brain, or we call head. And then emotion says, yes, we have to do. So if we can guide it by intellect, the mind can function, or mind's flow should be accepted when conflict comes between these two. Mind's direction is to be taken. That's the Swamiji's suggestion. But for regular everything we do, even taking care of our children or taking care of our friend or relationship, wherever, head should be, analytical mind should be clear to am I right or wrong? To myself. I should have to clearly understand, I am not doing anything wrong, I have analyzed it, what is right and wrong. And then my heart speaks, shall I do? Even I am to tell him this harsh word, how shall I say? Then heart will come, it will soften the way of our expression. I am angry, I know you are doing wrong, I am right, okay. And I can use that in a harsh way, in a very rough way. But with the heart, it can be so softened, and then it can be said, the same thing can be expressed in different ways. Only for the good of, here is the consideration should be what is beneficial, what is good, what is unselfish, those are the factors probably.
Maharaj, the stomach is calling now.
Stomach calling? Okay.
So I think we are telling us to get going now.
Okay.
So maybe just do a closing.
As a closing chant.
Swami Viru, so what's the What's the topic lines?
Next week?
Yeah.
The Touchstone of Vedanta by Swami Vivekananda.
The touchstone of
Vedanta.
The
Veda.
Touchstone of Vedanta.
the touchstone of Vedanta
By Swami.
by Swami Vedarupanandaji next Sunday. You all come.
Marty, can I just make one quick gesture to what you said there about the filling the heart? So you're right. Actually, she just made a comment about how do you expand the heart. One is by service of others, which is correct, and the other, what happens if you serve others? Sometimes we neglect ourselves. You mentioned two things: self-love and love for others. So I want just to point that out. In serving others, it also means we don't neglect the deity within ourselves. This is what happens a lot of times in selfless service. We see through ourselves and we focus on others. And the result is internal frustration, anger, and we result in no boundaries. So we also have to identify, how do we love ourselves? The self-love, the higher self. We have to make sure we give ourselves nurturing time so that we don't burn out. So both are required. That's what I say namaste in the beginning. Namaste means the divine in me, which I have to honor and salute and pay attention to, and self-love. So it's the divine in you, which I have to honor, respect, and give love to as well. That was the whole. Thank you so much. Last chant.
Okay, so we'll chant now. There's the pranam and the mantra for Swami Brahmananda. Om Namaste Brahma Rupaya Brahmanandaya Nandine Namo Rajadhirajaya Sarva Kalyana Karine Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Our salutations to Brahmananda Maharaj, who is of the form of Brahman. He is the source of all joy to the spiritual seekers, the benefactor of all humanity, and the King of Kings, who had administered the spiritual kingdom of the earth. Om, peace, peace, peace to unto us all.